Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to be talking about utility. So our learning target for the day is I can analyze how economists measure behavior through individual choices. Okay, so first of all, we need to know what utility is and make sure that you're writing all of this down, whatever is on the slide and whatever I say that's important, you need to be writing in your notes and then uploading to your digital notebook. So when we look at goods, you and I think of goods in terms of value. How much is that worth? Like an iPhone 11 is worth $1,200 apparently. While a pencil is worth less than 50 cents. You can buy a whole box for $1. But economists measure the value of goods in a different term called utility. And utility is the satisfaction from an economic decision measured in dollars. And it varies from person to person. For you, you might want to pay $1,200 for an iPhone 11. For my grandpa who doesn't want a smartphone, he's not going to pay $1,200 for an iPhone 11. He would maybe pay like $200 for an iPhone 11. So that is utility. How much satisfaction would an individual get from a purchase measured in dollars? And the utility isn't always the price. However, there's something called the paradox of value here. Some necessities that we have, like water, we have to have water to survive, have very little value. They're not worth a lot. They don't cost a lot of money. Your water bill that your parents pay every month is not that expensive. While many wants that we have are expensive, like diamonds or the iPhone 11 that costs $1,200, okay? So to be actually valuable, to have lots of value, goods must have utility, meaning individuals will get lots of satisfaction from them, and they need to be scarce, like diamonds. Water doesn't have much value because it is everywhere, right? Whereas diamonds, there's a finite amount of them, and so they cost more because they are relatively scarce, okay? So let's take a look at some facts about utility, and here's an example. I'm a big musical lover, so I use the musical Hamilton as my example. Utility is individually based. How much satisfaction would I get from something? How much satisfaction would you get from something? So I have high utility, my example over here, meaning I would pay a very high price to see a musical. But I don't have very high utility for a tennis match because I don't really enjoy watching tennis, okay? And utility doesn't mean that that is the price. The price is set up here, and if I really want to go, maybe I would pay even more. Or the price is set here, and I'm not really into tennis. I would pay less. I don't want to pay that much to go to a tennis match. So here's my example. The musical Hamilton might cost $150 a ticket, and I've seen it before. I would see it so much that I want to see it again so much that if they raise the price to $400 a ticket, I would still pay. Okay. I believe the real ticket price, $150. I'm like, heck yeah, $150. I'll go see Hamilton for $150. Whereas you maybe don't like musicals and they set that price at $150 and you're like, what? That is so expensive. I would not go see Hamilton for $150, maybe like $50. Okay. So utility is not the price. It's how much I would pay to do something. Okay. Okay. So how is it measured? They measure them in a made-up word called utils, which is hilarious. But we measure utility on the margin or marginally. So marginally means we add a little bit each time. So if we add a little bit each time, if I go see the musical Hamilton over and over and over and over again, is my utility, my satisfaction, the price I would pay to go see Hamilton, will that change? And economists say yes. They call that marginal utility. Write down this definition. I underlined it for a reason. The change in utility or satisfaction with each same decision. Let's look at food because we love food and I personally love desserts. So if I sit down with an entire pan of brownies, that first brownie tastes so good. It is mouth-watering, okay? But I'm still sitting at the same table, and within 5 minutes, I'm like, oh, I'll have another brownie. The second brownie is still pretty good. But by the 10th brownie, I am sick to my stomach, right? So each good, in this case brownies, that I consume in one sitting, my utility, which is another word for satisfaction, changes. And economists say it's always going to go down. And that's called the law of diminishing, which means decreasing, marginal utility. The law of diminishing marginal utility. We could re-say this and say it's the law of decreasing satisfaction from a good. Each time you consume that good over and over and over again, your utility, your satisfaction is going to diminish. Okay? And eventually, utility can be negative. If I eat 5 brownies and I feel like I'm going to puke, that 6th brownie, I'd be like, I would pay not to eat this brownie because it's going to make me sick. So why would I do it? That's negative utility, negative dollars. I would pay not to eat it. Okay? All right. If you need more help, I'm going to link Mr. Sarah's video, but let's move on for now. So now we're looking at, well, if I would pay so much for this good or pay not to do this good or thing, and the price is different, what's the difference? And economists call that difference consumer surplus. The surplus from the consumer. It's the difference between marginal utility and the price. And it's literally an equation. Marginal utility minus price equals consumer surplus. Okay, so let's look at some examples. If the marginal utility, the price I would pay, the satisfaction I get from that good is higher than the price, there's a positive surplus. Okay, so I would pay $400 to see Hamilton, but the ticket only cost $150. Dang, that's a deal, right? Okay, let's say if the marginal utility is less than the price, that means there's a negative consumer surplus. Okay, I'm at a restaurant and they are charging $15 for burgers, and I don't really like red meat. $15 for this burger. But I'm not a big burger person. I would maybe pay $5 for a burger. This chunk of area right here is, my hands are awful right now, is negative consumer surplus. I would not pay, I don't want to pay $15 for a burger. I would maybe pay $5. So my consumer surplus, there is no surplus. It's negative, okay? If you need help or another example of that, I will link Mr. Sarah's help video as well. So there are problems associated, tables we call them, with this. So you will have some practice problems over this. So let's go over what that looks like. Economists use tables to calculate the total utility, the total satisfaction, the diminishing marginal utility, that satisfaction decreasing, and the consumer surplus, the difference between what a consumer would pay and what the actual price is, whether it's above or below. So let's take a look at one of those tables and kind of dissect it. Sorry, I'm moving my little camera around quite a bit. Okay, so we have total utility, marginal utility, consumer surplus, price, and the number of that good that we are consuming. So in this table, I made it pizza because I love pizza. So within one sitting, I'm going to sit down and eat 6 slices of pizza, 100% doable, 100%. And each slice of pizza I buy, Sbarro Pizza is the best, is $4. Okay, so that never changes, and the good always goes up. Okay, so the number of goods we're consuming always goes up, and the price per item never changes. Okay, but my marginal utility is different. That first slice of pizza I sit down to eat, I am starving. I'm so hungry. It looks greasy and cheesy and marinara, and the crust is crusty, I guess. It's hot. The cheese is bubbling on top. I would pay $10 for that slice of pizza. That sounds delicious. Okay, so my marginal utility is $10 for that slice of pizza. It's different than the price. Here's the price, $4, but I pay $10 because I'm so hungry and I love cheese. Okay, so then that next slice would be, I'm sorry, let me move back. Total utility is throughout this sitting where I'm sitting eating 6 slices of pizza, how many utils are there? How much utility is there? And this is a really easy number to find. For total utility, we just always add up the marginal utility, and we'll do that as we go along. So I said the price is $4, but I'd pay $10 for this slice of pizza. What's the surplus? What's the difference? The surplus is $6. I would pay $6 more than the price. How did I find that? marginal utility, MU, that's this column, minus the price, which is this column. 10 minus 4 is 6, and it's a positive number. Okay, so let's go to my second slice of pizza. The cheese is still bubbling. The marinara is like kind of soaking off the side. Yum. Okay, price is still $4. However, I'm not as hungry anymore. So am I going to pay $10? No, I'm probably more willing to pay $8. Price is still $4. I would pay $8. So I would still pay more for that pizza than its actual value. So let's take a look at that consumer surplus. Again, I said it's marginal utility minus price. So that is 8 minus the price of 4 is positive 4, okay? And then how did we get this total utility number? How much satisfaction total have I had? That's this column just added up as we go along. First slice of pizza, I had satisfaction at about $10. Second slice of pizza, I had satisfaction at about $8. So total, that's 18. You see how this column is just, you gradually add the utility, okay? Let's skip down a little bit. Let's say I'm on my fourth slice of pizza and I'm not hungry anymore. Actually, I'm pretty full. The price is still $4 and I'm like, I could probably stuff another piece of pizza, okay? So I'd pay $4 for that pizza. It's still yummy, but like it's $4 worth of yummy, okay? So now my consumer surplus, the marginal utility minus the price, marginal utility on my fourth slice of pizza minus the price of my fourth slice of pizza, 4 minus 4 is 0. I have no surplus. How did we get this big total utility number? Every time we add up how much utility. So the first piece of pizza, I had $10 worth of utility, then 8, then 6, then 4. That is 28, okay? Let's skip down again. I'm on the sixth slice of pizza. I am done. Done. Okay, I feel like I'm going to throw up from eating so much pizza. The price of the pizza is still $4, but I'm like, I don't want to eat any more pizza. Don't make me eat any more pizza. I will pay you $2 if I don't have to eat pizza. That is what I tell them. I will pay you $2 if I don't have to eat it. So how much am I paying then? Okay, I am paying I'm lying. What is the marginal utility minus the price? The marginal utility is -2. I would pay you $2 to not eat this pizza because I'm so sick. -2 minus the price of 4. And hopefully you remember from math class, when you have a negative number, and you are subtracting from a negative number, it becomes even more negative. So now my consumer surplus is -6. You see how this number went down too? My total utility, the total utility I had in all this pizza. By the end of the column, it's this plus this plus this plus this plus this plus -2. If we add a negative number, we're subtracting that number. So my total utility actually went down because I don't want any more pizza, okay? All right, let's do one together. And to do that, I'm going to have to exit into edit mode, okay? Hopefully. Okay, here we go. Sorry about that. I'm going to have to exit into edit mode and kind of edit this with you guys, okay? So here we are in a mostly blank table. I'm going to use food again because food is my favorite example. So this time we're eating soft pretzels, and I like to imagine that they're the Mickey Mouse shaped pretzels in Disney World. If you've been there, you know. Soft pretzels. So in this setting, I'm going to eat 6 soft pretzels. And each time it looks like the price is $2, okay? The price never changes in a marginal utility table. So let's go ahead and fill that in. We know what this price is going to be. It's going to be $2. All right, so let's look at our first column. My first pretzel, it is warm, it has salt, it has a butter glaze. They might even give me nacho cheese to dip it in. I want to go right now and get a pretzel. I'm so hungry. So the price is $2, but I'm dying for a pretzel. I would pay $11 for this pretzel, okay? What is my total utility? Well, I've only had one pretzel, so my total utility is just the marginal utility. It is $11. All right, so what is my All right, so what would be my total utility? My total utility is all my marginal utilities added up. Well, that's just 11 so far. So pretty simple on that first one. Your total utility is going to be the same as your marginal utility. Okay, next we have consumer surplus. It's a math problem. I've got it there for you. What is the marginal utility minus the price? What is my satisfaction minus how much it actually cost? My satisfaction, my utility was 11 minus 2. That is 9. Okay, so we add 9 right there. Okay, second pretzel. It costs $2. I don't know the marginal utility, but I do know the total utility. Well, don't we know that total utility is just all the utilities in the table added and added and added? So I'm missing this number, but to find this number, all I have to know is my total utility minus my last marginal utility. So what is 21 minus 11? It is $10. Okay, so now I have marginal utility and I have price. I can figure out that consumer surplus very easily. So let's get going. The consumer surplus is marginal utility minus price. 10 minus 2. My consumer surplus on this one is 8. I would pay $8 more than what it's worth because I still love pretzels. Buy my second pretzel. Let's look at my third pretzel. Okay, on my third pretzel, the price is 2. The marginal utility is 7. I would still pay more for that pretzel. Okay, I've already got the total utility filled in, so now what's the consumer surplus? Marginal utility minus price. 7 minus 2. How many is that? That is 5. All right, next problem. We are missing total utility. I'm on my fourth pretzel here. The pretzel still costs $2. And I'm still so happy with this pretzel, I'd pay $1 more for it, okay? So my total utility is what is missing first. What is total utility? It's all those things added up in each column, okay? So it's this plus this plus this plus this. So now we need to take all of these, add them up into this column. So 11 plus 10 plus 7 plus 3 is, let me type her in, 31. All right. Continuing on. Almost done. Oh, so what is the marginal utility minus the price on this one? Marginal utility 3 minus the price 2 is 1. I would still pay $1 extra for this pretzel. Now, we're coming up on some hard times here. Things are getting a little bit funky. I've got, on my fifth pretzel, I've got total utility, and I'm missing marginal utility and consumer surplus. Let's work with marginal utility first. My total utility is $33. So total utility, remember, is everything added up. Everything added up. So this one, I had a total utility of $31. So what is 33 minus 31? That's the difference between these two things. It's $2. On this one, I would have only paid $2, the actual price. So what is my consumer surplus? There's no surplus. The marginal utility minus the price is nothing. I'm to the point where I don't enjoy it so much that I would pay more. In fact, I'm getting tired of it. Let's look at when I really get tired of this pretzel, okay? So this one, 6 soft pretzel. Man, I've had to unbuckle my jeans at this point. I am full. I've got still a $2 pretzel, but at this point, I would pay -2 to eat this. Sorry, not -2, -1 to eat this pretzel. I do not want to eat this pretzel. I feel sick. So what is the total utility is what we're trying to find. It's all the columns added up. 11 plus 10 plus 7 plus 3 plus 2 plus -1, which is just the same as -1. So what is that? That is 32. All right, last one, marginal utility minus price. It's a little bit tricky here. What is the marginal utility? -1 minus price is not -2. -1 minus 2 is -$3. I would pay to not have to eat this pretzel, okay? If you need more help, I'm going to link Mr. Sayers' video right here. hopefully you understand. If not, I'll be on Google Meets. You can text or email me if you need more practice with these marginal utility tables. There are tons of practice in the formative assessments. All right, guys, thanks.